Amen. We are going to continue on our lesson on Thou Shalt Prosper. We are on lesson 8, and we began this on Sunday. If you were here during Bible class on Sunday, we did talk a little bit about it. And this session is about money, knowing your money. Amen. And we identify what money is. When we ask all these questions on Sunday, what is money? Is it a currency? Is money the dollar that you have in your pocket? Is it the check that somebody wrote to you because of the work that you've done? Is it a promissory note? Is it a contract, right? We had this conversation and we figured that money is more than that, right? It's not just that. I think Priska bring a good point on that says, well, I cannot just take a promissory note and count as money unless I trust that person. You know, the money, it can be, at the end of the day, it could be useless because the person did not come through, right? And we'll identify that, well, for you to do business with someone, you got to be someone that you trust. Because if I write you a check today, you got to trust that check will clear when you deposit it. If not, you won't want to do business with me, right? So that's why we say money, at the end of the day, we came back to say, it's not just currency, it is a certificate of performance. Rabbi actually said it is a certificate of appreciation. That's what he called it. Because people appreciate you for work well done, and then they give you a reward in the form of money, right? Whether it's a check or whatever the case be. But at the end of the day, it cannot become money if there is no trust. Because if that check doesn't clear, you didn't get any money, right? All right, so let's jump into one. Ignorance of money is a recipe for disaster, right? You got to know your money. For you to be able to succeed in life, you got to know what you're dealing with. And we identify that our money is us. We represent that what we do, like I said on Sunday, you could argue very much well that there is more to you than your money. But we can agree that there is not much to your money than you, right? Your money is you. You decide how much you perform, how much you make, right? So your money is you. And so therefore, ignorance of your money is a recipe for disaster, because if you don't know who you are and what you can perform and what you can do, you will limit your growth. You will limit your success. You will limit how far you can stretch out, because that determines where you can go. So many people fear to avoid financial details, which leads to poor stewardship. When people are not, a lot of time when we say, well, let's budget. A lot of time it's not because we don't want to budget, it's because we are afraid to find out the reality of what is actually happening with our money. Right? If we can just go through our bank statements and see the things we spend money on, it might scare us. And so it's best not to even look at it, which is a disaster, because you got to know what you are putting your money in and how you are getting that money so you can have control over. So the first thing is stop being ignorant of what is happening to your money. Get to know your money. So A says people are afraid because they don't want to know what's going on. And that leads to poor stewardship. B, if you don't ask or track, analyze, and plan your finances, you can't grow wealth, right? You have to learn to track. You have to learn to analyze. And you must plan. You got to. Because if you do not track what is happening with your money, you won't actually know what is taking more from you. And you cannot think about it in your head. Like, you know what? I think I figured it out. I know what I spent. I bought a pair of shoes. I sent money home. I gave $100 for Jangi. I gave $50 for church. You're doing it in your brain. And it's a recipe for disaster. You must have a written plan for your money, right? You must learn to track it. How could you track it? You must have a system in place to track your finances, to make sure that is doing exactly what you want. Because if not, society will determine how you spend your money, right? You must also analyze your money. Is it fulfilling what I want it to fulfill, right? And then you have to have a plan. What do you want to do with your money? You want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to go back to school, right? So you're able to save certain amount. You're able to spend certain amount. Do you want to invest? So if you don't track, analyze, and plan, you can't grow wealth. You can't grow wealth. Priska will tell you, I'm going nuts right now because I'm having difficulties tracking stuff because of the system that we're dealing with. Because I'm not used to, I used to know exactly what is coming in, and that helps me to plan and analyze, right? When you don't have that in place, it's very frustrating and it's difficult to really grow wealth. So C says, you won't operate a business blindly, so therefore, do not operate your finances blindly, right? And even if you own a business, it starts from your personal finance to get to your business. Because if you cannot manage your personal finances well, how would you be able to manage your business finances? You can't. So because you will not want to operate your business finances anyhow, you should do the same with your personal finances. Right? Make sure that you have a good system in place. I've always screamed budgeting, but people like, it's too old school. No, it's not. It will always be the best way to manage your funds. It will always be the best process to see how you are growing, right? Because if your goal is to earn 100,000 a year and now you are at 50, you might not even know where you are if you don't track your finances. Then now you can figure out, okay, Calista, you're only earning 50, but your goal is 100. So what do I need to do so I can perform more to get more reward? So now I begin to train myself back in school or whatever I need to do for promotion. What else is there that I can take, a certificate class that I can take so I can get to that goal? But if you do not track it and you only think about it offhand, you are working a disaster plan. Luke 14 verse 28 says, suppose one of you want to build a tower, right? Won't you sit down and estimate the cost? The Bible says you cannot build until you count the cost, right? We go into the scripture that says that faith without work is dead. We believe the things that we don't see as though they were, right? That's faith. But God also says, yes, that is good. But even with the faith, you have to have a written plan. Right? How would you want God to bless you when you don't have a plan for the things you're asking Him to bless you with or for? You have to have a plan. Not just in your head. Put it down on a piece of paper and share it with people. Share your vision. I don't hold my vision back because why? When I share my vision, I know people will hear it and they will help me accomplish that vision. But if it's only in my head, it's not going nowhere. So I have to write it down. It says, do not start building a house until you have a plan. Imagine you want to build a house with no plan. You just say, okay, I'm going to get some blocks, cement. I'm going to get, the laborers, and I'm going to get water, and let's go. Okay, what are we building? Are we building a small hut? Is this supposed to be a foundation? You know what I'm saying? Are we building 2 stories? You have to have a plan. And then now you pray for God to supply based on your plan you put in place. So the key point here is that you must be as intentional with your personal finance as a CEO is with the company's budget. Right? As a CEO of a company, you cannot mess around with that because this is what people are dependent upon, right? You got to take your own personal finance just as serious because your life, your family depend on that. And so you cannot play around. You got to make sure you have a plan. Have a written plan. Number 2 says, we must understand money. So understanding money is a sign of maturity. Right? I can tell when the kids are growing up, I can tell when they begin to understand money, the way they start behaving. I'm like, okay, this one is beginning to understand money, the way they spend the money, the way they give the money, the way they're careful what they buy. They begin to mature in the way they spend money. So A, under maturity, says mature individuals don't ignore uncomfortable truth, right? They face them head on. What is the uncomfortable truth here? Budget, planning, right? No one of us want to budget. It's just not. The thing that you wake up in the morning and says, I'm going to start budgeting today, right? It's something that you have to force yourself to do. Because we don't like numbers. But guess what? You got to know your numbers to move up the ladder. That's just the truth. And so we have to face the uncomfortable truth so we can face our finances and figure out what is not right in it, what is right in it, and what can I do to better it. And B says, financial maturity is about discipline, self-control, and learning. Discipline, self-control, and learning. When we're trying to get wealth and build wealth for ourselves, we have to learn to discipline ourselves, right? What we call delayed gratification, right? We just didn't buy because others were buying, right? I didn't get my nails done every week or every month. Sometimes I don't even get it done for 6 months because at that point I cannot afford it. I have to discipline myself, right? I do my hair when I could, not because I want to do it to show off. I didn't care because at that point I did not have. So I had to show myself some discipline and some self-control because I don't have it at that point. I cannot spend what I don't have. Because what happened is I began to borrow. Because now I'm going into a gray line. I'm spending what I don't have. I don't earn that money. So now I'm beginning to spend it. So what happened? I have to go beg and borrow from somewhere so I can afford the things that I shouldn't be spending my money on. I lack self-discipline. But when you have self-discipline, you only spend based on what you earn. Do not live above your means. Live beneath your means, right? And C says, knowing your money means knowing your spending habits, knowing your income streams, and knowing your savings account, and also the debt that you owe. If you had debt, your goal is to pay it off and come off of it, right? Stay away from debt. It's not good for you. The interest is too much to deal with. You guys know it. It's just ridiculous. You borrow $20,000, you end up paying $50,000, right? It's just outrageous. It doesn't help you build wealth because what happens is when you walk in to pay the interest of the thing you borrow. So, but you gotta know your spending habit. Again, do not spend until you have the money, right? Some things just got to wait. It just had to wait until you get to the point where you can afford it, then you go for it. All right? And also the streams of income. Now this is about you, your performance. What are you doing to bring income, right? If you want more, that means you got to do more so you can get more. So what are you doing at this point in your life about your income? Are you looking to see how you can build more? Build yourself, build your skills, build your knowledge so you can increase your stream of income? Or you're looking for a side hustle, right? There's Uber out there. There is Lyft. There is, DoorDash, right? There's these different things you can do to bring extra income that can help you get ahead in life, right? There's so many things you can do. Are you saving? Or when you get your money, it just go right away. Bam, everything is spent, right? You want to have some savings because there will be what we call rainy day. You ever heard about rainy day? It comes. Everybody have a rainy day. It visits every household, right? You might say, well, Pastor, you are negative right now. No, I'm not. I am guaranteeing you that if you continue to live in this world, there will be a day that you will need a rainy day fund. And so you have to save for moments like that, right? That is just the nature of life. It's not because God doesn't love you or he hasn't blessed you, but life is ups and down. So you have to prepare for the downs. Proverbs 21 verse 5 says, the plan of the diligent leads to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. So planning, you will succeed. But when you just do things without planning, there's no prosperity there. Right? And also patiently wait. Somebody say wait. Yes, we got to wait. The key point here is financial knowledge is a form of wisdom and responsibility. Wisdom, responsibility. If you look at a successful person today, they did not get it by just being stupid. They had to apply wisdom. Right? They had to. Because if you don't have wisdom in how you spend, how you use your money, you will become broke. No matter how much you obtain, you will become broke. And also being responsible with the money that God gave you is very important to continue to build wealth. Number 3, money reflects values. So A, how you spend and manage money reveals what you truly prioritize. All right? So the things you spend money on, if I see your bank account, I can tell you what you love more. That's the truth, right? I can see your career path. I can see where you're heading in your investment, because you're not going to put money in things that you don't like. Absolutely not. You know, we're going to go buy something you don't like, right? Because that is your hard-earned money. You want to put it in something that you will enjoy, or something you like, or something that you want to invest in. So look at your bank statement and see, is that your priority in life? The things that you put your money in the most, is that going to take you where you need to go? So B, are you generous, wasteful, strategic, or fearful? Your money habit tells a story. Again, your bank account tells us, are you wasteful? Did you just buy things? I think I had to manage that myself. I won't say I was wasteful. You know, there are times when I get something online by mistake and I get double. First guy shaking her head. I don't waste it. If I don't give it to someone, I will return it back. I'm very careful with waste. People don't believe that when I say that, but I am. Trust me, I'm very careful with waste. I hate to see waste, right? If I don't use it, I'm returning it back, unless I'm using it. And also, generosity is part of it too. So you look at your bank account, you give more or you don't, right? Are you having a strategy for your money? Did you strategize on, okay, Evans was telling me the other day, he said, right now the stocks are down, he needs to hurry up and buy some of it. That's good planning, right? Before it goes back up. I think it's about to go up too. But, all the way? Which he probably gonna, hopefully, do it again, right? But again, you have to be looking at the market, thinking strategy. What is out there for me? Don't just sit down and say, I'm just going to make 8 hours money. No, there is more to your 8 than 8 hours work, right? I don't know what happened to the screen. All right. Number C says, when you know your money, you learn to align your finances with your faith and purpose. So when you know your money, it's very important. You learn to align your finances with your faith and your purpose. Because at the end of the day, the Bible actually tells us that our gift will make room for us. It's simply saying that the gift He's given us, the blessing, the talents, the knowledge that He's given us is there to be a blessing to us. And so when you know you'll be able to know that, okay, this is what Callista is able to do. And this is her purpose in life. I have to build on this because this is where my money will come from. I'm going to give myself 100% in this thing because this is where my money is going to come from. So you got to learn to know you first. I give an example on Sunday. If an aspiring actor wants to go out there and be the best actor ever, they cannot go and be watching the other actors on TV and think they're going to learn from that. That's secondary. The first thing they should do is to learn about who they are. Who am I, right? What are my potentials? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? So I can understand where to place myself, right? Because even though I love what's his name? What's this guy's name? My goodness, where are my actors? Well, James Bond, it comes to mind every time I'll use him, right? Even though I love James Bond so much, I can never be him. He's one James Bond and that's it. We are all uniquely gifted. There's one me, there's one Vera, that's it. So if I'm studying Vera to be Vera, I'm going to fail because I forgot to study Callista. There is only one me. And so before I learn about what Vera does, because I like what she does, I have to understand who I am and what I need to be doing first. right? That way you can align your finance with your purpose. And let's go to number 4. Before we go to 4, Matthew chapter 6 verse 21 says, for where your treasure is, of course, your heart is. Right? Where your treasure is where your heart will be. So the key point here is, please examine your money and understand your true value. Because see, if I'm looking at the famous actors and actresses on TV because I want to be like them, I could even limit my potential, because who knows that I could be better than them. So when I examine myself and understand my value, my true value, then I know my potential. Then I know how far I can go. Then I know how to choose a coach, how to choose the right mentor for me. Not everyone is right to mentor you. Not everyone is right to coach you, right? And how would you know who is best to be your coach and your mentor? Because you know you. Then you know who should be able to teach you, right? So knowing you is the key, because you are the key to your success. Number 4, it says build relationship with money, not an obsession, right? So knowing your money doesn't mean loving money. It means respecting and managing your money wisely, right? We do not want you to fall in love with money, please. If you did, please unfall in love, because you shouldn't. Then that becomes your obsession. You should be able to respect it, right? And manage it effectively. Because God says, I'm looking for a faithful steward, the person that will manage the resources that I have given to them. And what are those resources? Part of it is you, your money. You are your money, right? So learn to respect yourself, respect the money God gives you, and manage it wisely, but do not fall in love with money. B, you should not idolize money either, but you must what? Pay attention to it and plan how to use it for good. Do not let money be an idol in your eyes. Don't pursue it to the point where you lost track of who you are. Don't pursue it to the point where it becomes the thing you live for, right? Money should not be what you live for. Your purpose in life should be what you live for. If you think that you're getting a job because of money, it's okay. But I want you to think again, because at the end of the day, you will not sustain that job, because there will always be a reason to get more money, to get more money, to get more money. But you want to go to a workplace because that is your calling, that is your purpose, the thing you love, you have passion for it. And then you find yourself growing and enjoying what you do. Because it's hard to sustain pursuing money. You can't keep up with it, but you can keep up when you're pursuing a purpose, because you enjoy it. So please pay attention to money, but plan how to use it for good. For good. All right? C says learn about investing, savings, and budgeting and giving as part of your stewardship. We talked about it earlier. So please, investing is very big. I push on that every time, because there's something called compound interest, right? When you say, well, it's only $100 I'm putting in towards my investment funds, but guess what? That $100 is compounding interest every month after month after month. By the time you go into retirement, after 20 years or 15 years, you have a big cash stuck up for you, because all you saved was $100 a month. Don't eat everything. Think about it. If you eat your seed, you can't plant. And if you can't plant, you can't harvest. And if you can't harvest, you will starve. So don't eat everything you get paid for every time. Find a way to invest some of it. It doesn't matter how small it is. Investment is going to save you in the future. All right? You never know how long you're going to live. If you starve, you will die. Thank you. Don't eat your seed. Say, neighbor, don't eat your seed. Don't eat your seed. Please save some of it. How many of you are budgeting in the house? How many of you are doing some budgeting? Do you budget? Good. It's very good, Priska. Anybody else? You do it every now and then. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children. We talked about it already. And a key point in this section is help your family build what? A healthy and holy relationship with money. Did you hear that? Healthy and holy relationship with money. Because they're going to need money. But they got to know that it could be healthy and it could be holy. Because they need money. Don't let money be a threat to them. Right? Money is needed. We need money to get ahead in life. We need money. If we don't have money, we can't really trade in this world. Money is the means we use to trade, right? Whether you're trading with whatever you're trading for, your skills for money, your money for money, right? You need it. And remember, who is money? You are your money. Our final thoughts. So knowing your money means you respect the resources that God has entrusted to you. You respect the resources. You adore God for that, right? You respect it because He gave it to you. Number 2, financial discipline leads to peace, growth, and generosity. Financial discipline. How many of you want peace? We all do. God, peace is great. Growth. None of us want to be stagnant. We want to grow. And all of us here want to be generous. For you to do those things, you must have financial discipline. You got to have it. Because if you keep going to debt, you think you're going to have peace? Heck no, peace ain't coming. Because those debtors will be calling you, you'll be sleeping and you'll be checking if they're going to pick up your car from the parking lot because you didn't pay it. You know, they might repossess it, right? Or they might come take your home, they might take your kids, who knows? The Bible says the prophet owed debt and they were trying to get his kids because of the debt, right? That's not peace. And you can't grow if you keep owing people because now what you're working for people and not for you because you keep having to give what you work for. How are you going to invest it? And you can't give because you never have because you keep giving away because you owe. Number 3, prosperity is not just about income. Got you on this one. It is about what? Say wisdom and stewardship. It's not just about the income. Because in the beginning, if you remember, I said, the problem with success is that we do not make enough. That's not the problem. We do not make enough money. The problem is that we do not know our money. Right? We make good money. But we not succeed because we do not know our money. But when we know our money, we have wisdom and we have stewardship over that money. You have to have wisdom. You have to know your money. You got to know yourself. So it's not just about the income streams. It's good to have the income coming in, but what do you do when you get it is the question, right? How do you spend it? How do you invest it? How are you generous with it? What is your stewardship like with money? Luke 16 verse 10, 11 says, whosoever can trust with very little can also be trusted with much, right? So it's not about the size of your income. It's how you manage that little. It's how you manage that little. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you in handling true riches? Right? Your stewardship matters. And don't belittle small beginnings. When you have what you have, be grateful for that and take care of it, because that's how God opened doors for you. That's how you get ahead. When you say, well, I only have, you will never have. Right? But be grateful where you are. Be appreciative of the small things. The Bible says, do not despise small beginnings. Now let's go into our questions and see if we can answer some. We have a few minutes before we wrap up. Are you currently aware of your full financial picture? Think about it. You are? That's good. I'm glad to hear that. That makes me feel really great. Something is happening. I can trust you with more. Because now if you can handle where you are and you understand your income, your spending, your savings, your debt, that's great. That means you have control of it. It's not controlling you. You are controlling it. Right? So if you do not, please think about it when you go home tonight. Pull up your bank account statements and do something about it.